Phoebe, last night, you
Yes.
finally got me to watch one of a Studio Ghibli movie, which I've never seen any before.
I find it shocking that you haven't seen any Studio Ghibli films. I think
I don't know what's happened to me.
I know that, like, it's one of those things because I've never seen Star Wars because everyone tells you that you need to watch Star Wars, and people telling me that I need to watch something makes me less inclined to do it. Don't know why.
Yeah.
I'm not difficult or stubborn or anything. But Studio Ghibli films, like, they mean a lot to me, I think, and they mean a lot to a lot of people. They just have this uncanny way of making you care and feel gross, right? So when you said you hadn't watched any, I was like, she needs to watch them because she'll love them.
The audacity of feelings from an animated movie. But I personally, I loved it. For one thing, I don't know how I've gone this long with not actually watching any of the movies. I think what it was like in high school, I remember there was like a day that I was off in English for some reason, and some of my friends watched Spirited Away in that lesson. And I don't know why. I don't know why that was something that was shown. I don't know if there was like something narratively that like the English teacher was trying to like come across with the movie. I've still not seen it, so I don't know. But I think from missing that day, I felt like I had missed this like big movie. And then the more that kind of came out or the more that people spoke about it, I was like, well, I never saw a one that all of my friends saw. So I'm just missed out now.
Yeah. Just for a bit of context, folks, the one we watched was The Cat Returns. I just put them in a random named spinner and that was the one that came up. And so that's the one we watched. And now I really want Cloé to watch Whispers of the Heart because I think it's cute watching that one after that one.
From The Cat Returns, I feel like I laughed more at the inappropriateness of of things than I should have. But at the same time, I fucking loved it. It was charming, wholesome. And if that's what I'm set up for the rest of Studio Ghibli movies, then I'm all here for it.
So we watched I asked Cloé if she wanted to watch the dub or the sub, and she wanted to watch the English dub so that she could read the Japanese subtitles. I have never watched it in dub before. I was not aware how much I would laugh at Tim Curry's portrayal of the Cat King. Him saying babe all the time
on everything.
Absolutely sent
it was
me.
very cringe.
Absolutely
it just
sent
like
me. How dare you call him cringe? I'm sorry, Tim Curry can do no wrong. Check yourself.
No, it's
Check
just
yourself.
Babe. That just came across as very cringe. Look, I'm nearly at 200 days of learning Japanese now on Duolingo. Let's go.
Woo!
But I'm trying to learn and get better with my hiragana and katakana and kanji fucking reading, and it's a lot. And not that I can follow along the whole bloody movie, but there was some parts that I was like, it's very obvious that like Japanese language is very much based on inflection with talking and stuff, and there's less words used in a sentence considerably. So a lot of it was just kind of, what the fuck is happening in this English dub version? But I still loved it, and I still want to watch more, and we can do it in subtitle from now on.
Thank you. No, I don't think there's anything wrong with watching things in dub. I just like the sub. As you say, like, it's just very noticeable because I always have subtitles on when I watch things, regardless of the language it's in, because it makes me focus. I forgot where my point was going. It's not the one that, like, The Characters is not the one that you would think of as your first Studio Ghibli experience, but I think it's kind of a nice one because it's not one that you probably heard that much about.
The ones that I always hear is Spirited Away, Kiki's Delivery Service, and Howl's Moving Castle, I think.
Those three, and then Whispers of the Heart battle for top place. This is just out of a selfish desire for me to watch these films. I feel like this podcast is now just Phoebe's going to not educate. That's condescending.
You're going to give me more culture.
I'm
not
going to give you more culture. You're not a yogurt. I'm just going to.
I'm quite a vanilla yogurt, to be honest. I need some granola and some berries in there. I need something, you know. Yogurt aside, though, Phoebe, welcome back to Explaterate. This is episode 2.
Welcome in with your hosts.
Coast. Yeah, I'm
With
just
your coast.
coasting. That's what I'm doing.
That's all I'm doing. With your co-host, Cloé, Ashtari, and Phoebe, Anderson. Definitely didn't forget my last name, Anderson. I don't know why I said this. This is going really bizarre. I feel like I'm on something this morning.
It's because it's the morning. This is the thing, right? So we stayed up watching Studio Ghibli, and then Phoebe was like, I need to go out tomorrow during the middle of the day, but I really want to record a podcast. So I was like, well, we can do it in the morning, or we can wait until you're home. And Phoebe was like, no, 10:30 in the morning, I'm going to be there. Let's record a podcast. And I don't know why you decided, like, yeah, that's it. I'm going to wake up and immediately I want to talk to you for an hour.
I mean, I don't regret this decision. It's always a delight to talk to you. I think the regret is the fact that it's been recorded and people could understand how I just don't function in the mornings. I'm not a morning person.
Oh, Charlie even said to you when you were here, because Phoebe was here actually in Ireland last week. We got to see each other for a week. We got to see a lot of our friends actually.
It was lovely.
And it was fantastic. It was great to see you. But as Charlie says, like, I'm one of those people that it's like a light switch. Like, I will just be awake in the morning and I'm at 100% and I'm ready to go. I don't know why that's become part of my personality, because I never used to be able to wake up at all. I used to be the 17 alarms back to back and keep snoozing one after another, but I, for some reason, have become such a morning person and I hate myself for it.
I mean, one, thank you for having me. And two, there's nothing wrong with being a morning person. I wish I could be a consistent state of being. I kind of wake up and then it's just like, I need 2 hours to actually realize I'm awake.
Acclimatize.
Yeah, like I'll probably read or scroll through TikTokies.
Is this why you're always late for work?
I can't believe you'd out me like this on this podcast. How dare you?
Like Phoebe's co-workers.
It's not late. Like it's consistently like 1 to 2 to 3 minutes late. It's just a running joke with my colleagues. Just like, can you not wake up earlier? And I'm like, I've tried. It doesn't make a difference. I don't know. It was the same in school. Like I'd always be late for registration every day. And my reg teacher just because of like caring, because
needing that like wake up routine of like to get into like action, or
I don't know. I was consistently late, and it's ridiculous because you think if you're consistently late, why can't you be consistently on time? And I'm like, I don't know. There's two functions. You either get me ridiculously early because it was an appointment and it seems official, or you get me at the time we said ish.
I mean, let's also think about every time that you've said, I'm just going to go and like make dinner, or I'm just going to go and make like put my laundry out. I'll be like 20 minutes and then you'll turn up in our social situation about 2 hours late.
I think my problem is I underestimate how much time it takes me to do things, and I overpromise. Because I feel like if I make plans, then I'll have to do them. But the problem is I make plans all the time, and then
so you're an incessant people pleaser. Is that what it is?
Chloe, no, I'm not. Stop saying I'm a people pleaser.
You need to be more selfish.
Have you seen? I'm a single adult who lives in a flat covered with frogs. I think that's pretty selfish.
How many of those frogs did you buy, and how many of those frogs did other people buy you? Phoebe is now looking around the room, looking at the countless amount of frogs that there are. Just so you know, like listeners, if you don't know Phoebe, she's obsessed with Kermit the Frog, or has at least implied that she is obsessed with Kermit the Frog. So it's the one thing that all of our friends have latched onto and have just gone, it's a Christmas or birthday or celebration, send Phoebe a frog. And that's it.
I won't lie, Chloe. There's only one frog thing in this room that I have bought myself. Like, no word of a lie. It's just I got myself a Build-A-Bear rainbow frog when they released them like last year, because I had never had a Build-A-Bear growing up, and I was just like, I want a Build-A-Bear, and it's really cute. But that's the only one I've bought myself, I think, in this entire flat. I don't think
and you probably have like 100 to 200 frogs.
I wish I could show you my desk setup at work. It's a lot. Oh, I bought one of those though. Two of those on my work.
Two out of like the 200. So 198 frogs have been given to you. So tell me again how you're selfish.
Shut up.
Explaterate. Excessive talking. So
Into your eardrums. Welcome. I just gulped really loudly whilst I said that as well. You're welcome. Tasty. So, Chloe, to remind us again for the gentle audience that we have, why do you podcast with me? Why have you chosen this?
Because you make me laugh. No matter what time of the day it is, Phoebe, you make me laugh.
I say such shit. What we do is we get a coin out and we flip the coin, and whoever wins the coin flip gets to choose the discussion of today's podcast. So I've got a coin here. It's not a normal coin because apparently me and Chloe don't own normal coins.
Yeah, I love that. I had like the Disney coin last week. What theme is your coin this week?
I've got a pre-order bonus of Tears of the Kingdom.
Nice.
So it's swords one side and logo the other. So it's sword or logo.
I'm gonna go for sword, please.
You got a sword.
I got a sword. I want to talk to you about something that in my young life, it's not trauma. In my young life, I was brought up.
It's not trauma.
My grandparents, and especially my nan, is a very superstitious lady, right? And my entire young life was surrounded by either old wives' tales or just superstitious sayings that for a long time I used to live by as if they were like a law. And I did some like looking around online, and apparently there are some like wives' tales that are true and some that are obviously a myth. I think probably 90% of all the things I was told as a child was a lie just to make me stop doing annoying habits, really. But
classic parenting.
I thought that like we could have a little discussion about this, because are you familiar with like magpies, well, the bird, but also the superstitions around them?
Yeah, I mean, there's the rhyme, isn't there?
Did you know the magpies actually are considered, so across obviously the UK and most parts of Europe, they are evil, and in the US as well. But in places in Asia, they're actually a good luck or like a good positive sentiment as well. And like even when I was young, I used to think like, well, they're the magpies. They collect the shiny objects. They're cute and they just love to collect shiny things. And I used to call myself a magpie because I used to collect shiny things all the time. But we used to have the whole rhyme thing, right? The 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, 3 for a girl, 4 for a boy was like the thing that I used to get told. Apparently, in like looking this up, there was actually a different rhyme and it had differences depending on where you were. But the first one was 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, 3 for a funeral, 4 for a birth, 5 for heaven, 6 for hell, 7 for the devil his own self.
So, okay. I didn't grow up knowing the rhyme. I know these. Right. I didn't know the rhyme, the first rhyme you told. I didn't know that one. The second one I know because I read a book where it was in. It was not a good book, so I shan't be plugging it. But I read a book where it was in, and they used the whole rhyme, and I was like, God, that's morbid. They're just birds, mate. But I get what you mean. Like, I like magpies. I think they're cute. I don't think they're bad omens. They're very noisy.
I used to get told about you had to salute a magpie. Like, if you saw a magpie for bad luck, you had to salute to be like, yes, Mr. Magpie, I acknowledge your existence.
Oh, no, I say hello, Mr. Magpie. Like,
I
actually think that the full saying is, hello, Mr. Magpie, how's your wife? But I don't want to make presumptions. So I just say, hello, Mr. Magpie.
I never knew that was a saying. There actually is there's a 12-line version of the magpie rhyme, and the one that I was more brought up with, which is 1 for a sorrow, 2 for joy, 3 for a girl, 4 for a boy, 5 for silver, 6 for gold, 7 for a secret never to be told, 8 for a wish, 9 for a kiss, 10 for a bird you must not miss, 11 for health, 12 for wealth, 13 beware the devil itself, 14 make your choice, 15 take your pick, 16 the sweetest, 17 your heart's wish, 18 for a letter, 19 for better, and 20 the future, it's now or never.
Hold the front door. When are you ever going to see 20 magpies? Unless you were rearing magpies.
I've seen 20 magpies. I've seen more than that.
This is such a boast. Like, I've seen 20 magpies. Like,
I've seen so many birds.
You would not believe the magpies I've seen.
Oh dear, it does sound like a weird boast. Almost like they could be hoarding treasure as well. Like if you saw that many magpies in one place, I feel like they should be sat upon like not gold. For some reason, my brain went to like dragons. Gold and like Smaug.
It's Smaug, but it's like made out of magpies.
Magpies. Like maybe my brain's going to that from watching The Cat Returns and like the crows like at the end of the movie. Yeah. Listen. I've never heard the 20-line rhyme for this. I didn't know it went on that long.
You're telling me that you haven't got that memorized in your back pocket? Shocking.
No. As much as I ever knew, for some reason, like I never thought it was 5 for silver, 6 for gold. I thought it was like 5 for a letter, 6 for something better, which apparently is the 18 and 19 part of that.
I thought it was more like the sneezy rhyme.
There's a sneezy rhyme?
Yeah, like...
Okay, I need to know the sneezy rhyme.
I need to Google the sneeze rhyme because I can't remember it. Sneeze rhyme. 1 for a wish, 2 for a kiss, 3 for a poem, 4 for a letter, 5 for gold, 6 for lumber, 7 for an illness, 8 for a dance, 9 for a cold, 10 for a grave.
If you sneeze 10 times in a row, you're dead, right? Like,
no,
how do you keep sneezing that much?
As someone with allergies, it's just really horrible. It's like, you know when you get the most violent hiccups for your life, like after you eat really spicy food and it feels like your esophagus is burning away? It's like that, but like with your sinuses and you're like, oh my God, please stop. And you're just like this weird kind of machine gun.
I feel like if I sneeze 3 times in a row, I run out of breath. Like maybe that's just my asthmatic ass not having enough air in my lung capacity. But like, well, like off of these tales that we've been told, like if that was something that you were told, I wonder how much. So I'm going to do some like quick ones at you. Which these are like some of the things. I was talking to my wife and we were kind of going over what our grandparents or parents told us when we were children. And I just wonder whether you've heard any of these insane sayings. So if the bottom of your foot itches, you're going to take a trip. You heard that?
I haven't heard. I kind of get getting itchy feet because like you can't sit still. And you need to like be doing something.
Oh.
So I think that's probably, I have heard it.
Is that kind of the same as like cold feet when you get cold feet for like a wedding or like a thing because you run away?
No.
I don't really understand the cold feet thing.
I don't get that one either. Itchy feet makes sense to me because you got itchy feet because you need to do things. I think getting cold feet, just the fact that cold feet is unpleasant and like you have to do something about it.
Ah, okay, yeah, fair. No one likes a swamp foot.
No one likes a swamp foot.
Well, like, because my brain skipped a few things because my brain went to if your feet are cold, then maybe you're wearing boots that are filled with water, and then I went to swamp
like
foot. That's how my brain just made that. Sorry.
Maybe it's just like you got cold feet because you're not wearing anything on your feet and you feel unprotected and you want to put shoes on because you feel exposed.
So, like, look at these phrases are fucking great. I love them. They're so fucking weird.
I love guessing the you know.
Do you know where the saying "cross your fingers to make a wish" comes from?
Cross your fingers to make a wish.
Yeah, because have you never like cross your fingers, make a wish?
Oh, yeah, like
or like for good luck.
Yeah, for good luck. Yeah.
So it comes from like an old pagan tradition, apparently, where when you cross your fingers and 2 fingers meet, that is meant to like stop the bad luck from escaping from your wish. Apparently, like that's the path where it crosses holds in like the bad luck.
Oh, it holds.
So you kind of like
luck.
You hold your fingers for good luck.
That's cool as heck.
I think that's just pretty
another.
I don't know where this one comes from, but it was there, and I've heard it before. But if you get an itchy nose, do you know what that means? So it's not to do with your sneezes, but if you get an itch.
I get itchy nose all the time, lads. It's
well, apparently you're going to have a quarrel with someone. That's apparently what an itchy nose means.
Do you think it's because like your nose is itching because it's going to get punched if you have a fight?
Either that or like maybe you just smell trouble. You know when you smell something bad and like your nose itches?
No.
Oh. Do you, okay, this is a sidetrack.
Does your nose itch when you brush your teeth?
Yes, I assume from the mint.
I think it's just the sensation of brushing. I don't think, because like if you have a mint, your nose doesn't itch.
Oh, mine does. I sneeze. If I have chewing gum
maybe
or like
you're allergic to mint. Just a thought.
No, because I also have a thing like, look, I've got a big schnoz as well. Like if you don't know me in person, just know that I have like a big nostril.
Just
not
the one
just
big
one.
Nose.
I have two big nostrils.
Chloe, you do not have a big nose.
I do have a big nose, but it's in my genes because, like, you know, that's
you
who
should
I
get
am.
it
And
out
that's
there.
who my family
Noses
are.
don't belong in genes.
Fucking. Maybe I am allergic to mint, okay? But look, so like the other thing that I want to ask you as well is that, because when I go outside, if it's really cold, when you go outside, do you get a pain like right between your eyes as well? Like right at the top of your nose when you breathe in?
Your sinuses are yeah, okay, that would make sense. Yeah.
Okay. So, because I just assume that because I have a big nose that I get like, I don't know, like a sensitivity around like that area of my face. Because whenever that happens, Charlie is always like, what's wrong with you? Why are you getting like a brain freeze when you're outside?
It is kind of equivalent to getting brain freeze because there's obviously you just have a very sensitive sinus. And then, which would kind of make sense, you know, given your genes. Not the trousers.
My big nose. You can just say the big nose. It's fine.
No, that wasn't me. I actually didn't mean your big nose. I meant more like your partial ethnicity.
Ah, okay, fair. Well, speaking of that, so one saying that actually came from my dad, which listeners, my dad is Iranian. My dad used to tell me about how in Iran, so they bury their dead like within 24 hours of someone passing away. And back in the day, it used to be like a thing of you take them to a temple. Like I think there was like a temple of silence or something it was called. And they did like how the Egyptians used to like remove organs and that sort of thing to, you know, peaceful send off for the dead. Then in later down the line, they started to bury their dead in cement. And my dad used to tell me that was because Iranians had a fear of the undead. So that was just something I grew up believing. It turns out it's because they want to respect like waste and stuff, and they don't want to cause damage.
So they use cement?
Yeah. They started to use cremation in cement in order to not pollute the earth.
Oh.
Yeah. Another thing that my dad and I grew up with around the house was the curse of the evil eye. I can't remember what they're actually called, but they're like a blue bead with a giant eye in the middle. It's like blue and teal with a white and black pupil.
Yeah.
Have you seen that image?
Yeah.
It would be like the inviting anger and like evil spirits of envy of the gods. And then you would have this like amulet to kind of try and ward off the horrible fate. And we had them everywhere. My dad would be like, hey, have this charm on your bracelet, have this necklace, have this like everything. Like they were almost as much in my life as dream catchers were, because again, like he was a big believer on like bad dreams and nightmares like haunting you. So I would have like these beads and these dream catchers like all in my room.
I've never actually met Chloe's dad, but I love him from the stories I have heard. So like, I think it's very sweet. Like he's just like trying to protect you.
He calls himself a witch. I think we've had this discussion, or maybe we've not had this discussion.
I love that for him.
It's something else that I was kind of going to bring up today around superstitions and stuff, because my dad his favorite number is 13, and how like 13 holds this weird thing over the world. Well, not the world, but like negativity of the number 13. And he believes it to be a very powerful energy number. In my household, I remember my nan. So she's got like this glass tortoise, and she swears that the day that they got this glass tortoise in their house, their whole lives have been covered in a series of unfortunate events, literally like the book.
I'm so sorry.
And it's like, to me, because I grew up loving this tortoise, right? And they've still got it. It's still on her mantelpiece today. I was like, can I have it? Because there was at one point I went over recently and she was like, I want you to start taking things that you find dear. So I was like, I want to take the tortoise. And she was adamant. She was like, put her foot down, like, you are not to take this tortoise. You will have bad omens in your life if you take the tortoise.
I like the idea that not to dismiss it, maybe it is bad omen, I don't know, but maybe it's just like a nice scapegoat that she uses, where it's just like, for the things that you can't change and you have no effect over, you can be like, goddamn freaking tortoise.
They've equated it to the tortoise.
Yeah, how dare
But the thing is, like, my dad, being the witch of the family, used to, like, because they moved in, like, we lived in a place that was like a converted house into 2 flats. So they used to live in the downstairs flat. We used to live in the upstairs flat. My dad, he also developed this tortoise is evil, this is bad energy, and used to try and do little, like, things to make this tortoise, like, not bad energy. And it just, like, as a child, I was just like, this is wild. Like, what is this tortoise? I need it in my life.
In my household, it was more like there was a bunch of things that you can't do because it's bad luck. There was always things you can't do. No umbrellas up inside the house or indoors, or no hats on the bed, no new shoes on a table. You can't bring lavender inside because it's bad luck. I don't follow that one. That's bullshit, guys, because lavender keeps the moths away. So you keep your lavender. Mom also picks and chooses, because that was one that her dad taught her, my granddad. And she's just like, I love lavender, so we're going to do it. One that she should do and she doesn't do, which is like, it's lily of the valley is beautiful. It's a beautiful little white flower, and it's very good luck to have it in your garden. It's very bad luck to bring it inside. Do you know why that is? It's because it's poisonous. That's a lot of bad luck things are just like, this is common sense, because there was a genuine reason, but they didn't have the scientific backing of it. Like, this is poisonous, so don't bring it into your house.
Right.
You knobs.
I never knew that.
It's fine in small doses, just like, don't eat it. Don't eat it. Don't eat the plant.
You know what? I'll stay away from lilies. It's fine.
Lily of the Valley doesn't look like a normal lily. It's beautiful. I do love them. But what else? I'm trying to think of other superstitious things. I'm always throwing salt over my left shoulder. Like,
yeah, that's one. Do you know why that started?
No, I don't.
So it's said that in the Last Supper, like the portrait, the painting of the Last Supper, Judas apparently has salt that he's knocked over on the table. And the idea is that people say that you throw the salt over your shoulder because you ward off, like, Satan's bad thoughts and
Judas
puppeteering. My nan used to do it every fucking time, and there'd be salt on the floor.
So much salt
everywhere.
On the floor. So much salt on the floor.
The same as a knock on wood. Knock on wood was like her favorite saying. Yeah. Still is her favorite saying.
Always go
She'll
for
say
the
it all
head
the fucking
because you
time.
don't have any.
Yeah. If there's no wood to hand, knock on head. That's apparently from like a game that children used to play that was called Tiggy Touchwood. It was kind of like, it was like tag.
I hate that.
Or it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why they called it that, but apparently it's that. And then adults started to pick it up as Touchwood.
Hear me out. It was Tig when we were kids. It was Tig. Tag is the American thing. It was always Tig. Tig-urate.
No, tag.
Tig.
Why Tig?
It was Tig. I swear tag is an American influence. It was Tig.
Why would you say Tig over tag? It was tag rugby. It was tag, like, everything.
It was touch rugby.
What do you mean?
It's Tig.
How did you play touch rugby without the tags?
Oh, you mean that pulley thing? Oh, no, never that. I think we called tails. You would call it a tails rugby. I can't remember. But like, I distinctly remember that it was always Tig, and then suddenly like people started saying tag, but it was always Tig. I don't know if this is maybe just like
I wonder whether it's just like, I love that I started Googling Tig or tag and then it went toe. Like tic-tac-toe. Tag is also called Tig. Well, that's fucking thank you, Google. What is this?
Tig is British.
I'm trying to prove it. Tig is British. No.
Yeah, you have been Americanized. I told you.
It was tag in Kent, all right?
Yeah, well, you also have Leeds Castle in Kent, and I'm still not over losing that
Yeah,
freaking
that's
geography question.
Look, apparently someone, a famous person in France, came over to visit Kent, saw this castle ruins, or it may have been a castle at the time, I don't know. And then on their travels, they referred to it as Leeds Castle, I think just genuinely getting confused where they were in the UK. And there you go. It's now Leeds Castle, which is in Kent, which apparently last year got the okay of renaming. So they're going to rename it as Kent Castle.
Don't know why that made me laugh. Please spell castle with a K. But like make the case backward. Kent Castle. Okay.
So you've heard like these superstitions. Special mention to the one that Charlie's mum used to tell her. If you wipe your nose on your sleeve too much, you get a pig nose.
Now that is just a mother trying to get her child to stop a dirty habit.
That is an incredible saying and I love it.
I love it. Also, I love that like the interchangeability of if you don't eat your crust, your hair you'll get curly hair. Like if you
What?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. You eat your crust, so your hair will go curly, or it would be your hair will go straight. Whatever you as a child was scared of.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, because I always wanted curly hair.
So, Phoebe,
Yes.
outside of like just like superstitions, there's like old wives' tales, which are like urban legend, folklore type of stories, and these are the ones that like I was taught or I was told and used to live by law in our little area of Kent, which apparently Phoebe detests. And
I don't detest Kent. Don't say that. I've never been. How can I detest a place I've never been? I'm just a bit bitter about getting that geography question wrong, because why would Leeds Castle not be in fucking Yorkshire? You know?
I've got a few wives' tales here, and I want to play a little game that I'd like to call Is It a Wives' Tale or Truth?
Oh my god, I'm so here for this.
We'll start off with some, and then maybe you can like talk out your reasonings with me or like what it might mean, and then I can tell you the actual like answer of whether it is myth or legend.
I'm ready for this.
Myth or legend? Myth or truth? Feed a cold, starve a fever.
Myth. You shouldn't starve a fever. You should starve a stomach bug. You definitely should feed a cold because you need your nutrients, especially like a good bit of soup.
Good bit of soup.
The starving the fever is probably going to make you worse because you'll be weaker from not having the nutrients, and because you're so hot, you're burning off calories faster, so you're going to waste away quicker. So yeah, it's a fallacy.
You have hit the nail on the head. You've literally exactly the reasoning that is even there. It is false because high fevers and colds can cause fluid loss, and you need to have your nutrients and help prevent dehydration. You need to have your regular meals because you will get sicker if you don't.
Wow.
There you go.
So it's like I'm someone who's been ill a lot or something.
What about this one? You've probably been told this many times as well. You need to wait an hour after eating before you go swimming.
Ah, true. Because you do run the risk of getting cramp easier.
Oh, okay. I used to get told that you would die.
No, it's the fact that you run the risk of getting like cramping up. So like, and when you're in the water, if you cramp up, it can be severely dangerous because you can't control your limbs, and you kind of start to panic when you get cramp. You know, so you need to like walk it off, whereas you can't swim off cramp, can you? So I could be completely making this up, but that's what I always thought.
So like you're kind of there.
Okay.
So the Red Cross kind of says that you don't need to like necessarily wait an hour, but you need to kind of wait until digestion has started because it can make it strenuous for your stomach. But I also love that the Red Cross advises, this is like a genuine thing that was put on this website. The Red Cross advises against chewing gum whilst you are in the water because it could cause choking. Who just has chewing gum whilst you're swimming? Why is that something that people do enough that the Red Cross has had to make a statement on it?
I freaking love that. I don't know why I thought it would correlate to cramps.
I mean, it makes sense, right? Because it's the same as like if I imagine that if you had a big fatty meal and then you tried to go for like a run or something, you'd probably get really bad stitch or like a really bad upset stomach in general.
You would get yeah, okay, fair.
It probably correlates, but yeah, it's not necessarily to wait an hour, but advised to have digestion begin. I don't know how you can tell when that happens, but like, you know.
It's just roughly an hour until it hits your stomach, isn't it? Some people's digestion.
I thought it was like half an hour or something like that.
I don't know, Chloe. I don't know.
You're the doctor here. You're not. Don't worry. Eating carrots will improve your eyesight.
Okay, so there is some truth in this. There's something in carrots that in high enough doses does improve your eyesight, but you could never eat enough carrots to get benefits from it. So there's some truth in it, but no.
How do you just know all this shit? So it's literally, it is like false, but also some truth to it. This tale started during World War II. There was a rumor spread about remarkable night vision when they ate carrots, but obviously that's not really the case. It's just that they were high in vitamin A, which maintains a healthy eyesight, but you would have to eat like an ungodly amount to actually have anything to do with improving your vision. It doesn't actually improve. It's just healthy maintaining of eyesight.
Hell yeah.
You're too good at this.
I'm sorry.
You're too good at this. Chewing gum stays in your stomach for 7 years if you swallow it.
Bullshit. Such bullshit. It's just to avoid you choking on it because it's quite hard to swallow gum. It's not good for you and there's no benefits from it. And I think actually it's also it's actually most chewing gum is it makes you shit. Diuretic is what I was trying to say. I said it so beautifully there. So no, it doesn't stay in your stomach for 7 years.
No, it doesn't. It just has a little bit longer to digest than most like foods and things. And it will come out more or less intact when you do a shit. So there you go. What about if a jellyfish stings you, you pee on it?
I think there is some truth to that because there's the ammonia in pee.
Whether or not, again, this is from like a clinic online.
But apparently, also, hold on, there is some truth in it. Also, pee is not sterile, so don't do that. Especially if it's an open wound, you probably do more harm than good. Sorry, that is my final answer. But it does contain ammonia, which is why people think it is.
So that is what it says. It's like basically, don't do that. Don't do this. We recommend removing the stinger and with maybe some tweezers or soaking the area in hot water or taking a shower for 20 minutes to 45 minutes. Don't pee on people.
Don't pee on
if
people.
You've been stung or your friends, don't go peeing on people at the beach. That's weird.
Just good life advice.
And an offence. What about if you pluck grey hairs, 2 more grow in its place?
I've never heard that one.
You've never heard that one?
No.
I regularly get even Charlie used to say that to me when like we'd find grey hairs and she'd be like, don't pluck it. 2 more will grow in its place.
I think that's just a wives' tale. I think that the correlation is just that because one hair goes grey, then maybe a few more will go grey soon.
You are indeed correct. It is a wives' tale. If you instead of plucking, that would like damage the follicle, which can lead to like infection and balding. You just pluck one and then another one will grow at some point. It's just a wives' tale. What about shaving your hair will make it grow back thicker?
Oh, no. Well, look, we all remember what it was like. I feel like there's this important part of your life that maybe not everyone can relate to, but I think a lot of us can, where it's just like there's the before you ever shaved your legs and then there's the aftermath of having shaved your legs once and then having to just deal with that for the rest of your life. And it does feel like it grows thicker and harsher, but I think
so the reason for this, there is a reasoning. So the idea is that shaving, it doesn't have an impact on like the thickness. However, before shaving, your hair goes to like a point, and when you shave, it's because when you cut the hair, it goes to a blunt angle. So it looks like it is thicker and it's more noticeable, but it is just a blunt part of your hair follicle.
Yeah, I think as well, the other thing that might make people think it grows thicker is if you have really long hair, it's often quite a lot of strain on your head. Therefore, your hair may seem thinner just because like it's a bit damaged. So when you then shave your head, it's going to grow back quite luscious, and it's not any thicker than it was before. It's just that like there's less strain on the ends, so therefore it looks fuller.
You're nailing these so far. Like I have to say, what about eating cheese before bedtime? And that gives
as a lactose intolerant biatch who often forgets she's lactose intolerant, I don't think it has any correlation to your nightmares at all. I think it can be difficult to digest any food just before you go to bed. You shouldn't eat right before you go to bed. But also fuck that and live your best life. I am living my best Nigella Lawson, running to the fridge for a midnight snack, making myself a sandwich because I'm hungry. Because I
was going to ask what your go-to midnight snack is.
Cannot bear going to bed hungry. Cloé now knows how I get when I have not had food. And I think we can all agree that I'm just a monster. I'm not nice. I'm mean. I need to be fed, else I am cranky. And it's
I'll say is that you weren't cranky to me. In fact, when I asked you outright 2 times, I was like, are you hungry? Do you want food? You were like, no, I'm fine. And then I heard stories of how you were to 2 of our other friends when the time came that you actually went to go and get the food.
To be fair, they were taking the piss a bit. I'm sorry, Val, and I'm sorry, Phil. What would my go-to be? Whatever's in the fridge. It's not like it.
You're just literally like a little goblin that comes out like the 2 a.m. nightlight when you open the fridge, and it's like, what can I make?
It's like, yeah, like sometimes it's like the most ambitious time of the night where you're just like, I can craft something out of this. Like you suddenly see the new potential in what's in your fridge, stuff that's been there left for ages. You're like, I can. Ready Steady Cook hasn't got nothing on me. Ainsley Harriott can suck one. I'm off to make a banquet for myself at 11:45 at night. The worst habit I have, and I've done this to myself a couple times, I'll have made a sandwich for the night before. I'm a quarters person. I cut my sandwich into like 4 little squares. That's how I like my sandwich. Don't know
fair.
why I'm telling this to the people, but if you this is
very fair.
This is a pure way of having a sandwich. It's the same with pizza. If you cut it into more slices, it feels like it lasts longer.
Yeah, exactly. That's literally what my brain would tell me.
Yeah. But I often eat the 4th quarter and I'll be like, so I only get like 3/4 of a sandwich the next day for lunch, and then I'm really, really upset at myself for doing this. Like, why couldn't you just have made another sandwich?
So are you the kind of person that like when you cook dinner as well, like you'll be eating the dinner as you're cooking, like or you have to have cooking snacks for when you're cooking?
This is a terrible top tip. You get in and you're exhausted from the day, right? You're tired. You don't want to cook, but you need to cook because there's nothing to eat. So what you do is you make yourself I cannot sit down until everything's done coffee, which will suppress your hunger, which is terrible, but it does for a bit. So you can last a little longer whilst your meal's getting prepared. Maybe this isn't an issue if it doesn't take you 2 hours to make a meal, but for me, I am the slowest cook I've ever met. What was the question?
So you think cheese dreams are not a thing?
I think cheese dreams are not a thing. I think you can get indigestion, or it's hard for your stomach to digest things if you eat right before bed.
So this is one of my favorite things that I found online, because there was a survey done which found that there were a number of people that did, in fact, have wild and weird dreams if they ate cheese before bed. Do you want to know who did this survey?
Oh, God, I bet it's a legitimate source.
It was the British Cheese Board. Who calls their company the Cheese Board when it's the... So the survey may be a bit biased.
But what did Charcuterie Monthly say about this? Surely they must have insight. Do you know why I think it is? I think it's because they oftentimes, if you're having a cheese, you're having some wine with it, and because wine makes you really tired, right? But it gives you a terrible quality of sleep, and because you're having this terrible quality of sleep, you're probably in REM or light sleep for longer than you are in your deep sleep, which means you'll have more dreams. So I reckon actually it's not the cheese, it's the other correlating factors. That would be my...
Look at you being a weird scientist. Phoebe the scientist today, and doctor, apparently.
I just have lots of random information that doesn't help me at all in my life, but it's in my brain.
Red sky at night.
Shepherd's delight. Red sky in the morning. Shepherd's warning. Oh yeah, I grew up in the countryside. Of course. There's no science to this other than actually, okay, hold on. The thing is, it has something to do with the weather. So it's to do with rain and rainfall, and that's it. That's all I got. Something about the rain. You don't want it to be in the morning because it's a warning sign that like it's gonna rain at an impromptu time for the farmer to work.
So you're on the right track again, Phoebe. So there is some truth to it. So if there is a red sunset, it indicates that there is like dust particles in the air, which means that there is a high pressure in the air, which could make for good weather. And the same that if you see like sunrise in the east and high pressure that has already passed, then a storm could be on its way in.
I have a fun fact about clouds.
I love this. Do it, please.
Do you know that clouds can only form if there is some kind of particle to attach to? So, like, of course, we all know that clouds are water vapor, right? But they need something to attach to before they form. So most of them are always like sand or dust or something. They take a particle of something else for them to form. So it's not just water vapor. So that was...
So is there like various amounts of different clouds that are just formed in different particles or like different beginnings?
I would guess so. I don't know that much. I found this out the other day and I never knew that. I thought it was always just water vapor, but it's actually, it needs something to create that bond to become a formation. Cool. So
I used to have to learn a lot about clouds back in my graphic design days. I did an exhibition in Singapore Science Centre where we were talking about climate change and everything, and I had to do research on the different types of cloud formations. Not that I could ever tell you any of them now, like off the top of my head, because that was the first job that I had out of uni. After I was a cleaner. But yeah, there's like 7 or 6 different types of cloud formations. There you go. Fun fact.
A lot of them have multiple different names depending on the area they form as well. So like a tsunami and a cyclone and things like that, they like pretty much the same, but they have these different names. And I'm sure there is slight differences, but for the main part, they're kind of the same thing. They're just named different places.
Love the weather. Good shit.
We are so British right now. Let's just...
Right. Here's one that you probably were told much. I was told very much. The TV, like sitting close to a TV will make your eyes go square.
Okay, so here's the thing. As someone who had glasses at a very young age, I had glasses when I was 7. And one of the reasons I know I figured out I needed glasses, or one of the signs that like I needed to get my glasses changed, was that I would need to sit closer to the TV in order to see it in focus. So I don't think it actually makes your eyes square, but I do think that this tale probably came from people like myself who are short-sighted, needing to sit closer because they hadn't got the right prescription. Obviously, like. We know, we're very aware like blue light etc can damage your eyes for long periods and cause eye strain. Eyes going square, I think it's just like, it just means you'll need glasses, right? That's how I'm taking it, because your eyes aren't going to change shape.
That's how I interpret it as well. Apparently the thing that I looked up actually said that this is completely false, and actually television doesn't entirely hurt your eyes no matter how close that you sit to the TV.
Yeah.
But I think the saying comes from the idea of people that need glasses that have sat closer to the TV.
Could be as well people scared of static. I could not tell you the giddiness I would feel if I got to touch an old TV with static again.
Like what? So like when you went close to it and like the hair like standing up on end effect?
Just the noise. You actually heard the static when you like wiped your hand over it. Like that.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
Oh my God, and you heard the crackle.
See, I used to get scared because I used to get static shocks a lot. as a kid, and that used to scare me.
Okay, so you know how your dad says that he's a witch? My mum was always said that she's a witch. And like one of the things that makes me and my brother kind of like, as a kid, completely believe this is how often that woman produced electric charge. And we have this ongoing joke at home that like when she blows more light bulbs than any person I've ever met. The amount of light bulbs my dad has to buy to because mum just blows. She gets gloves on now. She uses like a little, so she doesn't touch it herself, because she keeps blowing them. But you would like, she'd be like, "Oh, stand with me and the cart when you're going shopping, like the shopping cart," and you would touch her or the cart, and you'd be like. I fake screamed there because I didn't want to blow your eardrums, but it was hurt. It's the kind of static you like, the shock you see. I actually do have a scientific reasoning for the light blowing. So my mum often uses a moisturizer that's a lot of like oil, and she also uses a lot of polish. She likes to polish the furniture and the couch and stuff like that, and keep it nice and shiny. And that is a lot of grease. And oil. And if you have greasy hands and you touch electric, you're more likely to blow it because it's a conductor. So it's trying to conduct through you, and therefore the light bulb blows. So
I never knew that.
I'm not saying that Mum's not a witch. If she believes she's a witch, that's fine with me. But I think that there is a scientific reason for her always blowing the lights. Which incredible. Is why she now uses the gloves.
Do you think she ever did it on purpose to like wind you up and like, you know, like running in and like doing that thing where like you get statically charged on the carpet and then like running up to you and just like zap?
Because like we would cry out in pain and be like, "Stop! This is awful!" Like it would genuinely upset us, and I think it would upset her. She's like, "Oh, God's sake!" So
I love that. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, kind of going off of like the TV and the eyes vibe.
Yeah.
Were you also told about if you cross your eyes, they'll stay that way?
No, not that one, but like a similar one, just like, oh, the wind will change, your face will stay that way if you're making a funny face.
Yeah.
You'll be stuck that way. It's no truth to that.
Yeah, no.
I do think constantly crossing your eyes does make your eyes more easily unfocusable. I did not realize that people were not aware that they can unfocus their eyes. Like, I think this is
like on a whim.
Yeah, I can just unfocus my eyes. I do it a lot.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm not paying attention, I just unfocus my eyes.
Yeah.
And that's really easy.
I get a lot of pain with that sort of thing. But I think that's from I've got astigmatism in both eyes.
Oh, same.
Hey!
You're so cool.
We got asthma. Like, look at our illness.
You're allergic to random things you never thought you were allergic to, like mint.
Yeah, apparently so. I can't wait for Pink and other people to be like, "Hey, Cloé, what the fuck's wrong with you? Why have you and Phoebe got all these problems?"
Sorry, just quickly. This comes off the bat because one Christmas, I was sitting in a Discord call with a bunch of our friends, our mutual friends, and I was eating a clementine, and I was just like, "Don't you love it when like you bite into the peel of an orange and it makes your tongue go all tingly?" And they're like, "No." That's not supposed to happen. And I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "Do other foods make your tongue tingle?" I'm like, "Yeah, tingly tongue foods." I had a whole subcategory of tingly tongue foods. You know,
that thing that everybody gets, like when your mouth goes slightly tingly and numb, you know, that sensation. It's great.
It's great.
Well, listen, Phoebe, at least like that's something that maybe is a thing for me with mint and I've just never known.
My favorite thing, do you know what that's called? It's called oral allergy syndrome. So you got the orals.
Oh. I don't know if I do like that. I don't know. What I do love is that I actually asked you yesterday about the whole how you eat food and whether I was just psychotic.
I don't think you're psychotic. I think a lot of people favor one. Sorry. Tell them what you discussed.
Well, yeah. So like going off of like eating food and stuff. So I found out or realized yesterday that when I eat food, I tend to favor chewing on the right side of my mouth, and not for like, it doesn't hurt or anything on the left side of my mouth. When I put food in my mouth, I will always push it to the right side of my mouth because I feel like it's uncomfortable on the left side. I love that Phoebe is now like mimicking the idea of chewing, but has nothing to chew. So he's just making...
The only thing I have on this desk is
face.
chocolate, and I can't have chocolate because it'll make my mouth all happy, and then you'll have to hear it.
Oh, do you get like the dairy cough, as Charlie calls it?
Yeah, I get like, I can't. Yeah, I hate my voice after I've eaten something. It's so.
Why does it do that? Is it like a coating or something? Like what actually happens?
You produce extra mucus because you're digesting things.
Okay.
I think.
I used to get told in the dentist that I produce too much saliva, just as a human.
You do have very large cheeks.
Ah, thanks. It's for storing the food on the right side of my mouth.
But because like saliva in the mouth at least is produced basically by your cheeks. So if you have large cheeks, it kind of makes sense that you would produce more saliva.
I constantly bite my cheeks and have a mouth full of saliva, and it is the worst.
It is, yeah.
Charlie was like, she went to have a massage the other day, and she felt embarrassed because she felt herself relax and then at the same time start to dribble during the appointment. And I was literally just like, if my wife nearly dribbled in this appointment, I could never go. I would be like that basset hound like energy of just drooling.
I feel this. That and the amount of sweat my body produces is just like, would you stop? Like, we're not doing... I think it's an anxiety thing. I honestly do. It's just that I
probably
cannot control my body temperature, and therefore I'm constantly producing sweat, despite the fact that I'm often always cold in my extremities. It's like, I can't win. This is Tasty Corner, where we talk about our bodily functions. Tune in next time.
That is how we're going to wrap up this episode. I hope that you're interested to find out more about our bodies in episode 3. Thank you for listening to Explaterate. Hey, Phoebe, you can do it this time. Where do you find Explaterate on the internet?
Well, lovely listeners, you can email us in at explaterate@gmail.com. One of our lovely listeners already did that the other day. Thank you very much, Cody. We very much enjoyed.
Thank you.
We're probably going to collate a few of those emails and then maybe discuss them on a podcast.
Hell yeah.
So please, if you have any questions for us or want to contribute to the conversation at all that we've been having in these podcasts, in any of these episodes so far, give us an email. We're just two people, and we read sometimes.
Listeners, you can find us on Twitter at Explaterate. You can also find us on Instagram, Explaterate Podcast, TikTok, Explaterate Podcast, which hasn't been used yet, I think, but don't worry about that. We're also Apple Podcasts now as well, by popular demand of Taff.
Just the one listener we get on Apple Podcast.
And that's Explaterate as well. We also have a YouTube channel, which it has like the same thing, and Spotify as well. In fact, I think Spotify has this like cool thing where I can set a question or poll, which I believe I set last week. I don't know how it works, so
that's so cool.
Don't quote me. But I'll put something in this week. Maybe I'll ask about like the top superstitions, or like what one. What was your? Who knows?
Yeah, what did you grow up with as a superstition? Under ladders, you can't go under ladders. That's one that I still live by. That's just good.
Did you know there's
health
two
and safety.
reasons for that? Apparently,
like
there's two reasons behind that. One of them, which is like more on like the medieval times, they said that they thought it resembled gallows. So the idea was that if you went underneath a ladder, you were destined for the gallows. And then another side of that was that back in the Egyptian times, the three and the Holy Trinity was like a big thing. And the idea of when you had a ladder, you formed like a Holy Trinity.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you were to kind of go under that, it would destroy the sanctity of a Trinity and incur punishment.
I love all these things where it's just basically like, it's an old wives' tale to be like, it's not safe, lads. Don't go under a ladder, you idiots.
Yeah, but also in general, don't fucking do that, you imbecile.
Thanks for podding with me, Chloe.
Thanks for podding with me.
Bye!